Melanie Klein, born in 1882 in Vienna, Austria, was an analyst who had a major influence on the field of psychoanalysis and its theory and practice. And if you're not familiar with her name, chances are you may know some of her famous quotes like, "The highly ambitious person, in spite of all his successes, always remains dissatisfied, in the same way as a greedy baby is never satisfied." Or, "The root of creativity is found in the need to repair the good object destroyed during the depressive phase." So what exactly was Melanie Klein famous for? If you stick with me till the end of the video, I'll also share my favorite quote of hers that I think doesn't get enough recognition. So let's dive into this question. What was Melanie Klein famous for? To answer this question, I'll be looking at three different aspects that made her contributions so groundbreaking. The first aspect is that she was one of the very few female analysts who were willing to bring their personal experiences into their work. You see, back then, and even now to some extent, many analysts shy away from incorporating their subjective experiences in their professional lives. Instead, they try to act as if they are blank slates or empty vessels in which theories are merely reflected. This way of thinking can be traced back to the founder of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, who believed that the analyst should have no opinions of their own and that their job is simply to reflect the patient's thoughts and feelings back to them. However, Klein challenged this view, arguing that our personal experiences inevitably shape our understanding of the world and that we cannot truly be objective. Klein argued that we need to acknowledge our own experiences and actively try to understand how they influence our work. For example, when working with mothers, Klein drew on her own experience as a mother to better understand the challenges and complexities involved. This approach was revolutionary at the time and continues to be highly relevant today. The second aspect that made Melanie Klein's contributions so groundbreaking was her focus on early childhood experiences. Klein was one of the first analysts to really emphasize the importance of early childhood experiences in shaping adult personality. She believed that our earliest relationships, particularly with our mothers, have a profound impact on our ability to form close relationships later in life. In fact, she proposed that our earliest relationships shape our unconscious expectations about relationships. For example, Klein suggested that if a baby develops a strong bond with its mother, it will expect all future relationships to be just as satisfying. However, if the baby experiences rejection or neglect from its mother, it will expect future relationships to be just as painful. Now, obviously, this is a vast oversimplification of her ideas, but hopefully this gives you a good basic idea of her theory. And the third aspect that made Klein's work so groundbreaking was her focus on the here and now. Unlike many other analysts who focus primarily on past experiences, Klein believed that understanding the present was equally important, if not more important, than understanding the past. This is because she believed that the past cannot be directly observed, and any understanding of it is filtered through the person's current perspective. For example, when someone says they remember something that happened in their childhood, it's really more of a reconstruction than a literal memory. Their current beliefs, feelings, and perceptions all influence how they remember and interpret that past event. So basically what I'm trying to say is that Klein didn't think we can ever really know the past. We can only ever know the present. Now, these three aspects of Klein's work were highly influential in the field of psychoanalysis and helped pave the way for a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of the human psyche. So let's talk about what she was most famous for. Klein is most recognized for two major contributions to the field of psychoanalysis: her work on play therapy and her work on object relations theory. Let's take a look at each one of these. First, her work on play therapy. Play therapy is a form of therapy that uses play as a way for children to express themselves and explore their inner world. It's been widely used to help children who are struggling with emotional or behavioral issues. Klein was one of the first analysts to really recognize the importance of play in a child's life, and she developed a unique approach to play therapy that has had a lasting impact on the field. Klein believed that play is a child's natural way of coping with anxiety, and that through play they can act out their conflicts and work through their problems. Her approach to play therapy involved observing the child while they play, and then interpreting the meaning of their play to help them gain insight into their inner world. For example, if a child plays with dolls and begins to feed them, Klein might interpret this as a representation of the child's relationship with their mother. By understanding the underlying meaning of their play, children can gain insight into their own thoughts and feelings and learn to cope with their anxiety in a healthy way. Klein's work on play therapy was highly influential and paved the way for the use of play therapy as a valuable tool in helping children who are struggling with emotional or behavioral issues. In fact, play therapy is now widely used in many clinical settings and is considered an effective way to help children express themselves and work through their problems. Now let's move on to the second aspect of Klein's work that she's most famous for, her work on object relations theory. Object relations theory is a theory of personality that emphasizes the role of early childhood experiences and relationships in shaping adult personality. Klein was one of the first theorists to really emphasize the importance of these experiences and relationships, and her work has had a profound impact on our understanding of personality. According to object relations theory, our earliest relationships, particularly with our mothers, shape our unconscious expectations about relationships. These expectations then guide our behavior in all of our future relationships. For example, if a baby develops a strong bond with its mother, it will expect all future relationships to be just as satisfying. However, if the baby experiences rejection or neglect from its mother, it will expect future relationships to be just as painful. Klein believed that these expectations are largely unconscious, and that we are not aware of them. They nevertheless dictate how we relate to others. Klein's work on object relations theory was highly influential and paved the way for a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of human relationships. Her ideas helped to shift the focus of psychoanalysis away from the individual and towards the study of relationships, and they continue to be highly relevant in the field of psychology today. Klein's work has had a lasting impact on the field of psychology, and her ideas continue to be highly relevant today. Her work on play therapy and object relations theory helped to revolutionize the way we understand human development and relationships, and her approach to psychoanalysis has influenced countless clinicians and researchers. But there's another aspect of her work that I find particularly interesting and sadly doesn't get enough recognition. Klein was also one of the first analysts to really emphasize the importance of empathy in the therapeutic relationship. She believed that the analyst must be able to fully understand and share the patient's feelings in order to build a strong therapeutic alliance. This aspect of Klein's work is particularly important today as we continue to learn more about the importance of empathy in fostering strong relationships and promoting healing. So the next time you hear someone talking about Melanie Klein, you'll know that she was a trailblazer in the field of psychoanalysis who helped us to understand the importance of early childhood experiences, the power of relationships, and the value of empathy. And if you want to dig deeper into the topic of empathy and learn about how it can transform your life, click here to watch this video.